Very, very fast cars, and we saw the best of it yesterday at Sydney Motorsport Park.
So thanks to Super Cheap Auto Trade, let's review that, relive that, shall we? Lockie Manif in the Method Motorsport Porsche, that yellow and blue car you could see running right down the inside there, wrestled the lead early on. But unfortunately, he and Shane Smolin would drift back through the field. Great start by Josh Buchan in that McLaren. He'd come off the back of a strong run in the Hyundai TCR entry, having had pole position there and a race win as well, and was absolutely a factor or a force in this one. Then the two Mustangs really started to make their mark. One in the hands of Aaron Seaton, the other George Miedeke.
The Brabham entry there, number 27 for the Love Racing, ended up coming in with some damage, but we had inclement weather all of yesterday. It was dry, it was wet, and Tom Heyman and Marcus Flack absolutely putting the move on. This is Heyman around the outside of Rylan Gray in the Lubramax Mustang, and these two cars have been going at it all year in Monochrome GT4, but it wasn't to be for the Mustang because the McLaren was dominant. Marcus Flack, Tom Heyman getting it done. And this entry, Ryder Quinn and Steve Jakic for the Black Diamond BMW, was strong all the way through. And there'll be one to watch out for, especially in the hands of Ryder Quinn for this race today.
They led something like 19 laps. They posted in that car a new GT4 lap record. So as the field sets off, worth keeping in the back of your mind an eye on the BMW in the hands of both Jacob Lawrence and John Bowe. So Jacob has one hand already on the 2024 AM title after that victory they enjoyed yesterday. So they ended up something like 5 seconds, I think, ahead of Anthony Sewell, who was really impressive too on his series debut in the McLaren 570S. So Lawrence just needs to pick up one more point over the series' next 3 races to seal that AM title. That could absolutely happen here this afternoon.
Had a little increase in the temperature today at Sydney Motorsport Park. I'm sure the UV on track will be significant. Now, Rusty, we have some compensation times for pit stops for today, but we'll get to that in just a moment. Let's have a look at your starting grid for race 2 of the Monochrome GT4 Australia. Tim Lay for the Tim Lay entry will start Miedeke and Gray for that really, really quick Mustang. Marcus Flack and Tom Heyman for Method Motorsport. Brabham and Astudi for Love. They'll be hoping for a better time out today. They ended up in the pits early on. Camilleri for SRO Motorsport with Manif and Smolin. They'll be hoping to try and claw back some of the ground they lost yesterday. And Bowe and Lawrence, we've already mentioned, a very, very tight pairing for the number 32 entry will start in 7th. Woods and Gilson. Zoe Woods getting on the podium with Gilson yesterday in the 210 entry will start in 8th. Evident and Woods in 9th, and Levitt will round out the top 10.
Just need to keep an eye on the Camilleri machine. If memory serves, was a non-starter yesterday. So we'll cover off that story for you and just see if everything is all right for today. So there's the rest of the field. Awesome lineup in Monochrome GT4 Australia. It's a class that just keeps on growing. We've got competitors that have come from other forms of racing here in the Shannon Speed Series. So Tom Heyman, for example, has been picked up by Chas Mostert, who's a part owner in the Method Motorsport McLaren operation. He's been a great addition there. Lockie Manif, who's paired with Shane Smolin, who's incredibly experienced in these cars. Lockie's come out of TCR, for example. So there's some good stories in this field. Tim Lay is paired with Cody Bircher, who is scheduled to start this race, and Tim's enjoyed kind of helping this youngster along the way. Rylan Gray, what a star he's been in the Lubramax Mustang for George Miedeke and the team there. So some young racers occupying the first few spots of the grid, the first 2 rows, let's call it. We're in the starters' hands here for Monochrome Australia GT4. 1 hour.
All eyes to the lights now for this hour-long race. And the youth up the front. Here we go, we're set to go racing at Sydney Motorsport Park, and it's lights out, here we go. Rylan Gray stretches the power of that Ford Mustang, and look further back. This Woods entry, unbelievable Porsche speed, covers off Lockie Manif and Smolin entry as we go down to turn 2 now. Rylan Gray from Bircher, then Heyman, Astudi and Gilson. checking up quite nicely there going into turn 2. Everyone seems to have kept themselves pretty clean.
Gillison's been good there on that colder rubber. I don't know if there was an issue or whether Shane Smollen was just a little bit tentative through turn 1 for the first time. So he's drifted back a little bit in that car that he shares with Lockie Minniff. It's Ryland Gray who leads the way from Cody Bircher and Heyman. Dramas here for the Cottrell Ginetta. Now, is it under steam or has it flamed out? Has it lost the fire? So we'll find out what's happened with that car, 750. He's the master jeweler who's doing some wonderful things around this sport for those that get to taste success at the end of 2024. Some beautiful pieces that he is actually crafting, and some timepieces as well. So those who walk away from the class don't just walk away with silverware. Some nice things to celebrate and remember the 2024 championship, courtesy of Mark Cottrell. But right now, their focus in that team is what is wrong with that Ginetta. Bircher right up under the rear wing of the Mustang as they run down the straight here at Sydney Motorsport Park. And how's that for a diverse array of GT4 machines? Mustang, BMW, McLaren, a Mercedes-AMG GT4, and then in behind that, a Porsche.
So great to see the entry of Brabham and Astudi, managing a much cleaner start than they did yesterday, of course. Brabham with Brabham straight. Hearing
that start procedure, I beg your pardon, maybe under investigation, I think, for car 1, but we'll double check that. We'll get some confirmation from race control. So,
also hearing that the 750 entry of Mark Cottrell is circulating again. So we'll continue to race here at Sydney Motorsport Park. And this is on. Tom Heyman trying his best to get around the BMW entry of Bircher, but Astudi is big in the mirrors. We've seen here today already at Sydney. If you can send it wide through this part of the track, you set yourself up exceptionally nicely for what becomes turn 9, 10, and then 11 back onto the main Brabham straight.
So we are hearing there is a 5-second penalty for car 1. So race control, Motorsport Australia race control, who've been busy in the past 24 hours, have moved. And unfortunately, and now the Cottrell entry, more drama there. Is that back at turn 2 again for the Ginetta? So car 1, of course, is in the hands of Shane Smollen at the moment. The car that you can see there, about middle of your screen, Porsche, that he shares with Lachlan Minniff. So Ryland Gray leading the way by just 0.4 of a second from Cody Bircher. Then Tom Heyman, with the support of DePrinzio Concreting. He was in Trans Am in the last 12 months. Remember, he was a real standout performer at Queensland Raceway. Has jumped at this opportunity to work with Chaz and learn from him. Great pairing in that McLaren, and they showed that, James, yesterday.
Tom, very experienced also in Trans Am. He's turned the wheel of the Australian Car Championship in 2022 as well, Aussie racing cars. So he's got some great experience. We see Astudi running a little wide there, trying to find a way around Tom Heyman in this Method Motorsport McLaren. And Heyman now really on the back of Bircher, putting him under pressure. This is the closest he's been. And can we see a move done? Bircher covers off. Heyman doesn't think too much about it. As we make our way, he runs a little wide, trying to be big in the mirrors. Bircher as we come through to turn 10 and 11 down the main straight. The pace difference here for these cars is pretty incredible. That McLaren is doing a similar speed, Rusty, to Bircher, 223 kilometres an hour last time around, but Astudi and Gray running close to 227.
Now, you were talking while the grid was up for our viewers here on 7 Plus about some compensation times around the pit stop. So if you're new to GT racing in this country, when we have 1 hour races like this, there is a mandatory pit stop window, a 10-minute period, call it roughly in the middle of the race, where the lane opens. Those that are entered with 2 drivers must do their pit stop in that time and a driver change. And if you've enjoyed a bit of success over the weekend or at recent rounds, as these two are almost trading paint, and Astudi's entered the mix here as well while they're fighting away, it's given Gray a bit of breathing space. Just to wrap up that point, the BMW should hold on to. In fact, round the outside goes Heyman, will get it done, moves up into position number 2, bit of body work. I think a bit of the diffuser has come off that Mercedes, has it? The GT4, you can see a bit of damage there. Just want to close off, so they'll do the pit stop, James, but there are, if you've enjoyed a bit of success, in addition to the mandatory minimum time that you must be in the pit lane from beginning through the stop until you exit the lane, some will carry an additional 15 seconds, maybe an additional 10 or 5, having reviewed the race yesterday.
Just looking at the front of this grid now, and Flack and Heyman have a 15-second compensation time. If we talk to drivers about this, Rusty, they love saying it's a penalty, but it's not. It's a compensation time. Maybe performance punishment, but they'll have another 15 seconds, the number 25 entry.
Studi's looking racy here. Sorry, James, I know you're wanting to cover that off. I was just keeping a little eye on it. He showed the nose as they came through turn 1, which is really quick in a GT4 car like this. Go ahead, continue with the numbers. Here we go. Here's Heyman now on Gray. So Heyman's turned up the wick here in the McLaren. He wants to get it done. And given the penalty, exactly right.
He needs to get it done because there's another 5 seconds in it for Heyman. So 15-second compensation time for Heyman, only 10 seconds for Gray, and Lay and Bircher have 5. So there's a mandatory pit stop time of 115 seconds.
The Giannetta's slow here. This could get awkward. Keeps wide, nicely done, and everyone stays as they should at the front.
Plays nicely there into Heyman's hands, and he'll be now released to try and build as much of a gap as he possibly can over Gray. As I said, there's a 5-second deficit in the pit stop. Big strategy to play out in this Monochrome Australia GT4 race with just over 47 minutes to run, but we haven't seen these top 4 cars give it up yet.
Gillison, I think, is gradually getting closer to this Group 2. They did a super job in that Porsche yesterday to be in victory lane at the end of it. So well done. They're looking like having a good hit out on Sunday too. So down they head once again here at Sydney Motorsport Park.
And Gillison also with a compensation time of 15 seconds in the Pro-Am category, sharing with Woods. Fantastic drive yesterday. We'll see a little bit more of Zoe Woods a little later on.
Give you some numbers here. Ryland Gray very kindly helping us earlier in the weekend. Back to second gear in the Mustang at this point, 80 kilometres an hour. They work up to about 135 k's an hour. Third gear through turn 3 in the Lubramax Mustang. Up and over the brow. Hard on the brakes. BMW flashing its lights. In the meantime, it's back to third gear, 120 k's an hour minimum through here. A little bit sideways. Works its way in third gear. Through 5. Heads for turn 6. Try not to use too much track there. Don't get done for exceeding track limits. Back to second gear. It's 90 kilometres an hour minimum. Around Corporate Hill, they emerge from under the bridge. There is an option there to head off to the left if the circuit was extended to its full 4.5 kilometre length. We're using 3.9 this weekend. Back to second gear, 70 kilometres an hour. He's under maximum pressure here. Ryland Gray, the BMW and the Mercedes. Through turn 9, it's third gear, 140 k's an hour. Turn 10, click it back to second, 115 k's. And then try and float it really nicely through the final turn. 11. Out of second gear, start working your way up through the gearbox, and they'll reach 190 plus kilometres an hour on the run into turn 1. Fifth gear is what you're expecting, about 190 k's here through turn 1.
This is on. Heyman trying to extend this gap. He's managed to clear Gray now, or last time around, with 1.5 seconds. But this fight is still going on, and Astudi is right there on Bircher. Still holds the fastest lap so far.
Just a little bit of news coming through, James, while we're keeping an eye on this. We're about a quarter of our way through this race. Richard Crowell reporting from the lane. He's popped his head in at Wall Racing, and it would seem like that car of Tony D'Alberto's, our former champion in TCR, will be a non-starter for the final one today. We'll stay across that story, and no doubt either Rich or Chris will speak to the team there, but it does seem like Tony D will not take part in the final race of the weekend here at Sydney Motorsport Park. While these three battle away, Heyman's eked out a lead of 2 seconds, so that's good for Heyman, bearing in mind the extra time penalty that team will carry when it comes to completing their compulsory pit stop. So he's trying to build that advantage to try and minimise the impact of that success penalty, if you will, from yesterday.
Yeah, performance punishment, isn't it? The way that this GT racing remains exciting all the way to the end. We're only really in the first phase of this race. Strategy yet to play out, but Heyman this time around has built a 2.8 second gap. So has found another second and a bit on Ryland Gray. And Bircher and Astudi, still Astudi with a look down the inside of turn 2. Bircher leaves enough racing room, but the exit of turn 2 becomes the entrance of turn 3, and Bircher will stay on the inside, as it does for 4. Really, really well managed and defended by Bircher there, but Astudi is not giving up. This car really wants to stretch its legs. Sam Brabham driving alongside Astudi later on. We want to do the same.
Got some battle scars from yesterday on the front, and now a little bit of damage to the rear diffuser there, but Antonio Astudi pressing on. This is the Love Racing by Valenti Rosso Motorsport entry, Mercedes-AMG GT4. So cool to think that we have all these marks so even in GT4. We've got a safety car. So timing monitor goes yellow. We have a safety car on circuit. All that work by Tom Heyman, 3.3 seconds he'd established in terms of the lead is about to be undone. Quickest lap of the race? Well, that belongs to Cody Bircher right now in the BMW.
Figure out why the safety car has been brought out. Let's have a look. Here we go. The number 17. Of Love.
Bailey and Rob Love in the sister car to that Sam Brabham and Antonio Astudi are competing in. So we've sort of got opposite ends of the spectrum for that outfit at the moment. Hyundai safety car is on circuit here as our coverage continues of the Shannon Speed Series. Lovely to have you with us here on 7 Plus. We'll be on 7 Mate a little bit later this afternoon too. All sorts of great sport coming your way here on the network. Of course, as Supercars builds to its conclusion, very proud partners of the Supercars Championship. Massive weekend for everyone on that team there at Mount Panorama Bathurst last week, and our congratulations to them. Some very good ratings there for the team and the Supercars TV crew. Let's get an update. Here's Chris.
Thank you, Rusty. Just further, we've heard there about Tony D'Alberto. That news coming through from Rich, just out the back with Zach Suter. And the tough lift entries repair job. There are parts everywhere out the back in the paddock at the moment. Zach just saying we're a chance, but he cannot believe it. I spoke to him before that race. He said the car just wasn't rotating for them. He knew he just needed places, just needed points, and to get to the mountain in contention for the title. So they are devastated, but still working hard. A chance at best.
Heartbreaking for them, isn't it? And we might get either Chris or Richard Crowell, maybe to wander down for a quick chat with John Bauer too. He's sharing that car with Jacob Lawrence, who we were talking about before. One hand on the AM Class trophy, currently sitting 8th outright at the moment and 2nd in class. Let's go to here, in fact, is Richard.
Rusty, I'm down here at Method Motorsport with Lockie Manif, who'll jump into the car he shares with Shane Smollen. Just talk us through the start of that one. She's been pretty feisty.
Yeah, it's GT4's putting plenty of action on, but yeah, look, I guess Shane, there was a car missing on the grid in P5, and yeah, I don't know, just obviously a lot going on the start there. So you know, it's 5 seconds. There's obviously other cars are racing that have got pit stop penalties as well. We'll be able to take that in the pit stop, mean we're clear for the end. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I don't think that safety car helped us too much at Method. I guess it didn't hurt Tommy in the McLaren and us in the Porsche. But yeah, it's all good. We'll box on end of the race and see where we end up.
And a big weekend from a championship point of view as well. Shane's a defending champion GT4, looking to add another one. How's that situation playing out?
Yeah, look, we just got to take it race by race. Obviously, we had a really tough one yesterday, which makes it a bit harder for us. But yeah, I guess we've got a quick ride of Quinn. We've got to keep in front of him in the second half. But yeah, if we can be in front, keep a couple between us, it should be safe. But anything can happen, so we'll see how we go.
Go well this summer.
Thanks, Crowley.
And perfectly timed, we get the action back underway through turn 1. Tom Heyman will lead Ryland Gray and Cody Bircher. Just to underscore the point that Lockie mentioned there in chatting with Krause, the penalty that they had for that infringement around start procedure, and Shane perhaps impacted by the fact that the Camilleri car didn't take its spot on the grid. We did highlight that when we were going through the starting positions for you. Maybe that just impacted the judgment. That penalty will be served when they take their stop, when they do that driver change, and that is coming up when the window opens and Lockie will jump behind the wheel.
Well, just over 38 minutes remain here at Colour Spec Race Sydney's Monochrome GT4. Race number 2 was an action-packed race yesterday. It is again today. It's on the restart there. It looked like Ryland Gray was able to get that power down in that Lubrimax Mustang. But Tom Heyman almost saw it coming, was able to hold him off. Already starting to build a bit of a gap. He'd already done that. The work to do again as the safety car backs the entire field up. And Gillison is now on the back of Astudi. And this car has been rapid all weekend, bringing in the Pro-Am to the silver class cars.
A little bit of dust being kicked up there through the final turn. Not sure if that was Anthony Levitt, but I was just about to sing his praises. He's flying solo once again for Method Motorsport in the second of the McLarens. Had a pretty good hit out yesterday, and he's doing a ripping job here at the moment, isn't he? So position number 6, and as you can see from the totem, has picked up a number of spots from the start. There's Gillison, who we were just talking about. Fantastic Saturday for that team. Back we go to Shane Smolin. Very successful real estate agent. Loves these sorts of cars in this kind of racing. Just use the maximum amount of track and maybe a little bit more than Shane. And he'll hand over to Lockie Manif very shortly.
Shane, an exceptionally experienced driver in Australia.
Here's Astudi again. Dives down the inside, might get it done. So that damage doesn't seem to hurt him. The BMW under and over. Cody Bircher not giving up here. Gets it back. Good stuff. That's how evenly matched these young racers are and how evenly matched the cars are. Central West Prestige BMW. Tim Lay will take the wheel of that very soon. But Cody Bircher, this is great stuff. Refusing to give in despite the onslaught, the pressure from Antonio Astudi.
And it really brings in Gillison to the conversation, allows Gray to have a little bit of a moment, a bit of a breath, as these two battle it out. Using all of the track is Antonio Astudi. And that Mercedes-AMG GT4 machine. In the mirrors, just letting him know he's there. As we come through turn 1, we've seen Astudi so far be very brave late on the brakes into turn 2. He's a little bit further back this time around to try to carry as much momentum as possible through turn 2. And the camber change into turn 3. Over the tunnel down into turn 4. You do not want to dip your tyres into the grass here, the loaded side of the car. Would spell bad news. Everyone is being exceptionally clean so far and trying to push as much as they can. Let's go down to Crailsey for more.
James, thank you. Just duck down to Volante Rosso, where Sam Brabham is suited and booted and ready to go. Antonio's doing a superb job in that car, and this speaks for the race lead.
Yeah, he's doing great. The car was fast yesterday. Obviously had a bit of a mishap, and we're a couple of laps down, but he seems like he's quicker than the Mustang and the BMW at the moment. The McLaren seems to have a bit too much pace, but he's doing a great job. Just got to bring it in safe, and the others have got pit stop penalties, so we should hopefully come out close to the lead. So
you jump in shortly. What's your pre-race prep to get yourself ready to go?
Just breathe, keep calm. You know, we know we've got a good car, got a good team, and I know I can do behind the wheel. So just get in and do the job as always, and mustn't only for DB. So
it's good to see you go well.
Cheers, thank you.
Sam Brabham there with Richard Crail, and fittingly our coverage is on the Brabham Straight here at Sydney Motorsport Park. Through turn 1 they come again. Now, had we not had a safety car, James, you just got to wonder how much of a lead Tom Heyman may have built. It's back to 3.7 seconds. So Heyman's been able to recover. Had we not had that safety car, is it conceivable that it may have been double that number? Remember, he's got that penalty. He and Marcus Flack have that penalty to deal with, courtesy of their success yesterday when it comes to the mandatory pit stop very soon. Had a quick glimpse as well of car 101 there while we were listening to that interview, and that's Tony Quinn, up 4 places at the moment. I can kind of call him the boss to an extent. I'm about to go on a book tour with him in New Zealand, and I'm a part of the Next Gen series there over summer, James. They're doing some really cool things to showcase young talent in New Zealand. A lot of the stuff we're enjoying here in Australia at the moment, some very similar things happen across the ditch there, including the Castrol Toyota Formula Regional Oceania Championship, with all sorts of young racers coming to get behind the wheel of those single-seaters. And man, it has unearthed, or we've seen some young Liam Lawson, Lando Norris and more have come through that pathway. And Tony, of course, a very proud owner of Hampton Downs, the Taupo circuit, where supercars races in New Zealand, and of course Highlands Motorsport Park there on the South Island. So here he is. Had that big crash, of course, at Townsville in recent years, and we did wonder if he would race again, but he's reveling. He's enjoying this GT4 competition and this particular car, and right about now sits inside the top 10. Popeye, they call him, his grandson, Ryder, will take over the wheel of that orange BMW. You can see there coming into pit lane now, right of your screen.
A couple of other entries in the pits now. Rylan Gray, Smolin, Gomersall, Woods, who will hand over to Josh Buchan, who's just wrapped up a TCR race, so he'll be feeling fresh. And Jackick in for Ryder Quinn. Tony Quinn does incredible stuff for motorsport in this country, Rusty. You're very, very right. And not only is he doing well for other young talent, but also grandson, as we heard yesterday, Popeye.
Here we go, driver change, bottom right of your screen here. Lockie Manif just very calmly getting behind the wheel because they have the time to do that, and that's exacerbated now, unfortunately, by the penalty that they have as well. So Lubramax Mustang is in there. The Jack H BMW, which will have Ryder Quinn at the wheel. We've seen the other, the new addition as far as Mustang GT4s are concerned, of Gomersall in the lane, and he will hand over to young Aaron Seaton, son of Glenn Seaton. So that's the change. There's Glenn there, running around, making sure pressures are right by the looks of it.
We're just being told there's a pit lane penalty for car number 17, which is the Love entry for an unsafe re-entry. That's by Motorsport Australia Race Control. I didn't quite get a glimpse at the gap between Heyman and Gray when Gray pitted, but Heyman now will be trying to build as much of a gap as possible. If not for that safety car, he probably would have covered him off, but it will be interesting to watch this one to see where Medicki comes out, whether it be in front or behind of that Method Motorsport McLaren. Richard Crail has some more.
James, I was right at pit exit when George Medicki launched the Mustang out, and there was a big sigh of relief from the Medicki Motorsport team as they beat the Shane Small and Lockie Manif car out. So that's the strange thing about the way these pit stop sequences work. You sit there for an eternity waiting and waiting and waiting, and there's almost no activity for 60 seconds once they've got all the work done. and then they fire out into the lane. The Love car out now, so too the Jacob Lawrence, Jamie Augustine car, but a really good stop from the Medickies under the supervision of the great Andrew Medicki. And it's worth noting that Brendan McGinniskin, who's one of the senior VPs of Ford here in Australia, has been behind a lot of their motorsport programs in this part of the world. He is here watching on from the Medicki camp. That's how serious Ford are taking this GT4 program.
Love it. Nice update. Thank you. Meantime, Heyman, Bircher and Astudi have been trying to build here to minimise the impact. Now let's watch here how George Medicki charges now that he's back out 10th in the order, but we need everything to shake out once the rest of the stops have been completed. So pit window is open. Still a little bit of time left.
Astudi now in the pits. He will hand over to Sam Brabham, who Richard Quayle has already spoken to, but let's go back down to you again, Rich.
James, thank you. With Ryland Grace just jumped out of the Ford Mustang. Handshakes and high fives all around. Great stint.
Yeah, got off to a pretty good start, got to the lead, and we knew from yesterday that tyre wear was pretty big around here, so I sort of just tyre saved the first half of the race to sort of give George a bit of a fighting chance at the end, and yeah, just sort of let the McLaren go because they're obviously going to be way better around here, but yeah, handed it to George and just see how we finish the race.
You and George have been quite evenly matched all season long, but how's the Mustang come along since that first round at Phillip Island?
Yeah, we've worked on it a lot. I'd say we've put a lot of development into it the past couple of rounds to keep it up the front, and the team's done an excellent job. You know, we've kept the Mustang up there, and it's good to see another one out there. So yeah, pretty happy.
Good luck this afternoon.
Thank you.
He's made a significant contribution too. He's been a great young star of GT4 in 2024. Nice to see him getting some success and some airtime. Awesome to have that representation by Ford here, not just with the cars on track. Aaron Seaton at the wheel of the other one now, but also from a manufacturer standpoint here. So the stop happening for the 32. Will this be the day that crown for Lawrence is put beyond doubt for the AM category? Just needed 1 point from the remaining races to get it done. John Bowe singing the praises of this driver yesterday, not just in pit lane, but in fact right throughout the season. He's enjoyed being a part of this outfit, but very impressed with the way Jacob Lawrence has gone about things.
Rusty, car 17 not having a good time so far, under investigation for pit stop time. This will be the second time of having a look by the stewards. As you quite rightly said, John Bowe now in the number 32 Randall entry. On screen though, our leader, Tom Heyman, who has been circulating and continues to try to build a gap to that Medicki Lubramax Mustang. And he hasn't yet pitted. Pit window, the compulsory pit window is open. So will it be this time around? He has been circulating pretty quickly though, and he's just coming up to some traffic. So we might see now, yep, here he comes. Good timing for Tom Heyman, who's going to hand over to Marcus Flack. Let's, if we can, keep an eye on him and how the Lubramax Mustang is circulating as well.
And I mean, he's another great young racer. Good pairing, Heyman and Flack. But they'll be on the back foot a little bit in the remaining, let's call it 24.5 minutes probably for them by the time we get the stop done. You can see that the BMW is in there. So Cody Bircher out of that car. Tim Lay will be behind the wheel. Marcus Flack, who's a little on the taller side, about to jump in. Tom Heyman will get out. Here comes the Lubramax Mustang in the meanwhile on the bottom right of your screen. So we've got some fast pedalers here, James, for the back end of this race. Sam Brabham, George Medicki, Lockie Manif. What about the 16-year-old Lachlan Evanet as well in the Porsche?
Yep, and thank you to Richard Quayle pointed out that Sam Brabham on the overcut beat Medicki out of the pit lane. So the race on for the lead will be between that Mercedes and Method Motorsport McLaren. As we see in the bottom right picture, the Mercedes just going out a shot ahead of the Mustang.
good observation from Richard Crowell there too. I think he's just messages to say that that Brabham was able to beat George Miedeke out of the lane, maybe on an overcut. So few things as a result of that. The action in the pit lane is just as good, James, in GT4 quite often as what happens on track. So some good outfits and operations down there. And look at where Tim Lay has come out. So that gives you an example there. You can see the Merc coming through shot, round through turn 8, and the little advantage it has now over the Mustang with Miedeke behind the wheel, and Tim Lay, who is based in Orange, couple of car dealers going at it there, George Miedeke and Tim Lay. Awesome.
Here we come. Here's Brabham through 11. He's been speedy, and look, here comes Marcus Flack. I don't know, Rusty, I reckon they're going to get it done. The Method Motorsport McLaren, Tom Heyman, has absolutely stretched the legs of that and done an incredible stint. Brabham from Miedeke, and here he is, Marcus Flack. And whilst Gillison is reading #1 on your timing totem, the race lead is between these 3 cars. Brabham just running a little oddly wide there in through 2.
Got to make the most of it though, doesn't he? He knows that it'll take some corners for Flack to just get dialed in here. Maybe Marcus is charging already. So Sam fired in the Mercedes-AMG GT4. Sideways for Tim Lay as he tries to stay in touch with Miedeke. Where's Manif here as well? Need to keep a little eye on that. Gillison is in the lane, so this is the effective battle for the lead, it would seem. So good work. We need to highlight here, good work by Tom Heyman in his stint, and that has helped to minimise the impact of their CPS damage, if you will, the penalty as a result of yesterday's win.
You're very right, Rusty. And to hand over to Marcus Flack, man from Brisbane, who has an incredible CV to his name as well, of course. Racing a Porsche Carrera Cup Australia, Intercontinental GT Challenge this year, as well as GT4 Australia. He raced in GT World Challenge last year. Sprint Challenge at Porsches he's driven in kart championships, Spanish F4, British F4, Italian F4, German F4. He is well and truly experienced, isn't he, Richard Craill?
Yeah, it really is. I'm down here at TechWorks Motorsport, where the team are just waiting for their car to leave. So these guys were the race leaders. Daniel Gillison jumped out of the car. Zoe Woods has jumped in. Daniel's actually with me, so I'm going to grab him. Dan, you've just jumped out. Hey, this has been a nice little cameo for you this weekend. What a great performance yesterday, firstly, for you and Zoe.
Yeah, we had a great race yesterday. It was really good to team up with Zoe and have a go. Zoe did all the hard work yesterday and kept with all the guys, all the front guys, and then made my job easier yesterday. So hopefully I tried as much as I could to keep with those fast guys, those front 4. And this morning on this race, and try and build as much of a gap. Obviously the safety car probably going to hurt us a little bit, and a little bit extra pit stop time, but we'll see what we can do. Hopefully it goes green for the rest of the race for us.
You work with TechWorks and IRC, I know, on an engineering side of things, but you've got a long racing background. What's this been like getting back behind the wheel, and tell me about the Porsche as well?
Yeah, no, it's, I do all sorts of stuff with TechWorks. So this year mainly just doing all the Zoe stuff with 2886s, driver coaching her, doing mechanic stuff with her, and also most of this year with GT4 as well. And get to have a drive this time, so it's good. Yep.
Nice to see you back behind the wheel. Great drive.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
And
back to you guys.
Thank you, Richard. And it looks like they've, in terms of the outright order, now that we've adjusted things, it looks like that car with Woods behind the wheel now is eighth in the queue. So a quick class update now that we're in the back end of this race, James. So Marcus Flack, Tom Heyman leading outright, leading silver. When we go to our Pro-Am competitors, Lockie Manif and Shane Smolin having a better day today. So they are currently 5th outright, first of the Pro-Am competitors. What have we got here? You're showing the mirror, Richard. What's happened here?
Well, this has come out of the TechWorks Porsche, and Daniel said he copped some debris during his stint, and it whacked the windscreen, and it actually dislodged. So as they pulled to a stop down here in the lane, this came flying out of the side of the car. So -1 rear view mirror for Zoe Woods at the moment.
Who needs those? Eyes forward. Now, just to wrap up the class scenarios too, well done, Anthony Levitt, 10th outright, for Method Motorsport in the second of their McLarens, a sister car to that, leading things and leading the AM class. Here's the car that Josh Buchan shares, and he did a ripping job yesterday, and really before the rain kind of arrived, it wasn't with us for the entire 1 hour race yesterday, but we certainly felt the impact. But Josh was fast in the first half of the race in this car.
And Jason, you who started this race, obviously not as experienced as Josh Buchan, but Josh Buchan, who has just come out of TCR car into a car that's been wrapped by PPF Studio. We've seen the owner of PPF Studio, John, in the Radical Cup, and also looking at this beautiful car, which he tells me is modelled on a rare chameleon. But Buchan will absolutely be pushing this car to its limits, already up 10 places. Chris, what have you got?
Well, we've been detailing, haven't we, with John Bowe and Jacob Lawrence. So what's on the line for Jacob today? The AM title, he just needs 1 point. You've got a pretty safe pair of hands out there trying to get you across the line and get that title. How are you feeling?
Yeah, a little bit nervous coming into this one, but just took a measured approach. Wasn't going to take any risks. I was in with a couple of Pro-Am cars, so I let him go and tried to save some tyre for JB at the end, which is pretty important here.
What would it mean to you in terms of the team and everything that's gone into making this program happen this year?
It'd be unbelievable. It's my first year at national competition, and to get a GT4 championship under the belt, I'll be ecstatic. So it's what we set out to do. So yeah, I think hopefully we get it done today.
And this class, I mean, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger, doesn't it? The field, it's a great place to go racing.
Yeah, absolutely. We got the race win yesterday, and to do it with this many people and at a new track for us, it's awesome.
Mate, well done and good luck. Go and watch those monitors and hope to see you get it all across the line.
Mate. Thank you.
Car is on screen, nice and calm at the moment. Great chat there. They are presently running 15th outright and 4th in the AM class, so should get it done, particularly when you consider how good it is to have a safe, fast, good set of hands like John Bowe currently behind the wheel with him. And JB is a big rap, I should make the point too, on Jacob Lawrence, the way that he's gone about his racing this year. So back we go to our race leader, Marcus Flack at the wheel of that pink and blue McLaren, now for Method Motorsport, run by, in part, Chaz Mostert, very proud team owner there. Sam Brabham, this is a really good drive from Brabham at the moment for the Love Racing team by Valanci Rosso Motorsport. Running in position 2 was a pretty aggressive Antonio Astudi that helped set this up in some ways. He was feisty in the first part of this race. A little bit of damage, as you can see at the back of that car, but it hasn't hurt their ultimate position in the field. Whether it's hurt the performance of the car and the way that you have to drive it would be something we can perhaps talk about toward the end of the race. And George Miedeke in 3rd at the moment in the Lubramax Mustang.
And we know how strong Miedeke is in this Mustang. He absolutely loves it. And when it debuted at Phillip Island, he was very strong. It was dominant. And it's great now, Rusty, to have 2 Mustangs as part of this GT4 field.
Aaron Seaton in that car that you're referring to, the other entry, is up 3 places. He's 11th at the moment. Just keeping a little bit of an eye on Tim Lay versus Lockie Manif. We're hearing from Motorsport Australia Race Control that Love may be hit with another penalty. So there you go, bottom left of your screen. I think updating what James alluded to there before as well. So you just need to, I think Manif is on the charge here. And whether Tim Lay, there you go, that's what, you can see how close the Porsche is now. Whether Tim's maybe got a bit of a battle on his hands here in the Central West Prestige BMW, but he's just slipped back from the Mustang into the clutches of Manif here. I tell you who's closing at a rapid rate. That is Josh Buchan in the McLaren. Keep a little watch on that in the background there.
And Lay's had some great success in this BMW, but we heard earlier on, didn't we, from this man Manif, who's up on the inside, holds on, turn 2 action. We love it here at Sydney Motorsport Park, gets the job done. Builds now a bit of a gap in turn 3. But Tim Lay, who's very experienced, will not be giving up this fight anytime soon.
He'll be tough on himself here in relation to this. He's I mean, when you look back over his CV, he's raced in Formula Holden, was with Greg Murphy Racing in some early gen Porsche Carrera Cup cars and more. Hails from Orange. The family have a very proud automotive dealership there with various brands, and he's front and centre of that at the moment, but he loves his racing. He absolutely loves his racing, Tim Lay. So Buchan closing in there. We'll just have a little watch of that. In the meantime, let's sneak an update from Richard.
Rusty, thank you. Down here at Method Motorsport, Tom Heyman alongside me, still wiping off the sweat from a big stint. Hey, mate, what a great start to this race. You've given this car over to Marcus in the best possible place.
Yeah, well, the car was mega in the first stint. Obviously, we had a bit of a slow start. Just wanted to look after the tyre in the first few laps. But, yeah, we were able to turn it on, get past the first few cars and pull a gap, so it was great.
This has been a fun little partnership, you two, this year. It looks like you've really enjoyed working with each other.
Yeah, well, obviously, we started working together at the 12-hour with this team, separate cars, but we kind of just bonded straight away. And Chaz thought it was a great idea to put us together this year, and yeah, it's been awesome.
Hey, talk about the competition. Those opening couple of laps were wild.
Yeah, there was cars everywhere, mate. I was just letting them do their thing up the front and hopefully just waiting for their tyres to burn out, and that's exactly what happened. So, yeah, giving the car over to Marcus in a great position. Hopefully we can push on from there.
And what's tyre life like? Are you confident it's good to go to the end of this one?
Yeah, we're pretty confident. We had good tyre life yesterday, so we'll just see how the car keeps going and go from there.
Ripper drive, well done.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Yeah, it really was. And I wonder if he's just highlighted a little something to think about here with 13 minutes remaining. Is that maybe what's happening to Tim Lay? Is the goodness in the rubber at this point of the weekend gone for him, and why he's sort of having a little bit of a battle here? And at the same time, the BMW in the hands of Ryder Quinn had a few good sectors from Ryder. He's sitting in 8th outright at the moment, 4th in the Pro-Am class in this race. So just need to watch that orange BMW as well. They're currently 8th outright. Lockie Dalton, another superb performance from him. Another driver who's come out of Trans Am and has driven more than that in recent time. And he's in 7th place right now.
Isn't Josh Buchan doing a great job? A man who knows this track very, very well. A man who is exceptionally speedy. Did time attack here earlier in the year. Very, very cool looking car. He's involved himself in as much racing as he can, as we see now Ryder Quinn on screen in the BMW that you mentioned, Rusty, the number 3 machine. He is exceptionally quick.
Good little battle pack, this one, and that is Lockie Dalton just coming through turn 1 now that we were talking about before. That's the Buckley Motors Mercedes-AMG GT4. You can see here on the screens of 7, incidentally, our highlights coverage of the Bosch Motorsport Australia Rally Championship, and the Buckley Motors family, the team there, our event sponsor for the final round of the championship coming up in late November. Can Harry Bates win another title for Toyota? We will find out in the forest, the awesome roads of Tasmania, last round of that championship.
Just quickly on Harry as well, didn't he and Coral have a great time in Japan recently too? It's really great to see Australian talent being recognised around the world.
Little segue there is the fact that this GT4 championship is giving people that have maybe a rally background and so on the chance to come and play here. And similarly, those that might be kind of pure circuit racing fans or specialists, if you like, you know, a Josh Buchan or a Lockie Manif can step out of these cars that you see on screen here and compete in GT4 internationally. So don't think for a moment, as Josh's car gets a little awkward trying to get out, he wants to be nice and close here. This is exactly how he set up the pass on Tim Lay a little while ago, just gradually trying to edge the nose by the Porsche. Great battle between these two. Manif doesn't want to give it up fast into turn 1, but Buchan will get the job done. The point I'm making is, if they've got some international aspirations, teams overseas will know, okay, righto, you've run that car in Monochrome Australia GT4. It gives you that door opening, or it makes that process maybe a little bit easier. Not straightforward, but easier. Let's call it that.
Doesn't this show Josh Buchan's tactical prowess? The way that he's able to line that up. And not often do we see passes down the main straight. Just got on. The pace of this Porsche is very, very good. But the pace of Josh Buchan, and it highlights seat time for drivers. And as you were saying, Rusty, the fact that in this kind of category, GT4, and of course for the GT3 cars in Fanatec World Challenge Australia, you can get involved in that and get some seat time. Very, very important to do.
The significance of, sorry mate, the significance of that pass to Buchan versus Manif, it gives Buchan the lead in the Pro-Am class in this race. So 4th outright, that's a really good performance by Josh Buchan there, who's on double duty this weekend, as James Baldwin said before, also racing for HMO in the Hyundai, and now the championship leader, defending his crown that he won last year in 2023 at Mount Panorama Bathurst. Sealed it there.
Joined us for our broadcast of the Shannon Speed Series a few times this year as well. Great to have his insight when he's available and not in the cockpit, which he
does it too well
right now. So does Thomas Randall. As we see him come through, and Ryder Quinn in the back of shot there. I was just keeping an eye on his times, Rusty, and he is starting to lessen the gap to Lockie Dalton in front of him. All for Pro-Am, of course. And Tim Lay in the silver class, that BMW starting to drop off. And I imagine you're very right with the call of tyre life. Coming up to some back markers now.
Yeah, lap traffic. And that's allowed George Meadey. It's given him a sniff here in the Lubramax entry. So it's compromised Brabham a little bit, but it's the onus is on the passing car. Naturally, there are blue flags in those moments for the Ginetta, but the job was just made that little bit tougher. Brabham couldn't get the job done soon enough. Now Meadey bombs it down the inside, round the back of Corporate Hill, and the Mustang moves up into position 2. Can Brabham fight back here? They go side by side around Corporate Hill. George should be ideally placed for that next right-hander. Turn 8, look at Josh Buchan in the background.
Oh. Hangs it around the outside as Brabham does not want to give that position up. But Meadey, strong in the Mustang, able to hold on and utilise the power of that car. And here comes Josh Buchan. We'll say thank you very much for this little fight in front. I might invite myself to this party.
And the party might involve a top 3 finish for him. So not only is he the leader in Pro-Am, he may be about to take a top 3 outright. Car looks pacey. Ginetta gets out of the way in the background for Lockie Manif, who's edging closer to this group too. A battle pack of 3 could become 4 here with 7.5 minutes remaining.
Here comes Buchan. He's on the inside, pushes Brabham out. Brabham won't have enough grip to do the switchback, and Josh Buchan moves himself into 3rd. An incredible drive and recovery from where they started.
Sam can't fight here. I just don't think, for what maybe it's the goodness of the tyre at this late stage, I'm not sure, but it just doesn't seem like he can fight in that Mercedes-AMG GT4 in the same way. He can't seemingly demonstrate the same sort of pace that we saw in the early part of his stint. So Meadey is through, but now under pressure from Buchan. The race lead, Flack has established an advantage of 5 seconds, over 5 seconds up in front. Buchan gets it done, gets through on George Meadey for 2nd outright. What a drive in the McLaren.
13 places. This car started in 16th. This has been an incredible showing for the Zagami Autosport entry of this McLaren, and Josh Buchan is absolutely flying.
Pretty cool for Jason Yu too, isn't it? So, you know, someone that Josh has been working with. He does a lot of that stuff around coaching too, James, to, you know, all that experience that he's had from karting. You detailed before World Time Attack and more, and he's come through some single-seater stuff like Formula Ford and more. So, and he's very good. He's very descriptive. You talked about the commentary and things like that. He's great in that kind of coaching position. So that's a real boost for Jason Yu here. They are not only at the moment looking like walking away with the Pro-Am win on Sunday afternoon here at Sydney Motorsport Park, but an excellent 2nd place, and he's already taken 3/10 out of Flack's lead. He's charging here.
5.5 minutes to run here at Colour Spec Race Sydney for Monochrome GT4 Australia, and Josh Buchan is hunting down our leader, Marcus Flack. who was handed the car.
Manif's by Brabham. Sorry, I've talked over you there. Apologies. That's happened in the background. Lockie Manif's grabbed that spot from Sam Brabham, who I think just can't fight in the way that he did in the early part of his stint.
And it's a good pickup, Rusty, because earlier on I did see an indicator pop up on Brabham's car. And talking yesterday to Tom Randall, who said as a driver, you do that so you alert the driver behind you. You can pass on the side. So I think we saw that down into turn 2, and I wasn't sure if the indicator was just on accidentally, but it's no longer on. So potentially he was just offering that opportunity for Buchan to get through.
Respect then if that's the case, isn't it? Because he's basically wanting to fight as best he possibly can, but if it's the kind of scenario where, you know, it's a fait accompli that at some point here Manif's going to get by, he's done the right thing, hasn't he? So 4.5 minutes remaining. There you go. Here comes, this gives you a great shot coming down Brabham Straight of what's playing out at the front of Monochrome Australia GT4. Flack's lead is now down to just 3.8 seconds. Josh Buchan is coming. Can this driver here, the champion in TCR in Australia, who leads the points again in 2024, can he somehow take this lead from Flack before this race is done, or is Flack playing it smart here? Has he got someone like Chaz Mostert in his ear just going, look after the tyres, we've got a little bit of time here, we've got a little bit of a buffer, let's just manage this with 3.5 to go, 3.5 minutes remaining.
There are 2 charges in this pack, Josh Buchan and Ryder Quinn. We saw Buchan's shot there in the wide angle of turn 1 down the main straight, making a move on the inside. I wonder if he was able to get that done. But Josh Buchan just chipping away on Marcus Flack. But there's one thing to catch, it's another thing to pass here at Sydney Motorsport Park with just under 3.5 minutes remaining.
Lockie Manif, 4th place, 2nd in Pro-Am in that Porsche. He's had a good Sunday as well, despite that penalty for Shane Smolin. A little bit tail happy is the Ryder Quinn BMW in the background as it came around Corporate Hill, but he is ahead of Tim Lay. There's more to that story on the Lay BMW. And while we were talking about Manif, is that Lockie Dalton closing in there? I think Dalton is closing in on Sam Brabham. So Brabham's vulnerable here now to Lockie Dalton, who may get to 5th spot. Couple of battles happening here. Lights flashing for Manif, putting pressure on the Mustang. There's Lockie Dalton. Not quite close enough to get by Sam Brabham. 2.5 to go now.
Let's keep an eye on that Mercedes battle and see if Sam does what he did a couple of laps ago. I think I just saw that indicator on there for Sam Brabham, indicating LSC now as these 2 Mercedes come through. Yep, I think he must have a problem with that car, Rusty, and is being a gentleman about it and just alerting the driver behind to pass, but he's still pushing as hard as he can. The Buckley Motors entry Mercedes is now through.
It's like having only 1 nunchucker, isn't it? Not 2. So but he's doing his best, and I think, as you rightly say, it's great sportsmanship from him. Looks like it lit up maybe a licorice strap rather coming out of turn 4 there. So he does seem like he's having a battle, Sam. A bit more to that story, I think. What can George Miedeke do here? Who do you back in this fight? The youngster in Lockie Manif, who's trying to make his name in Australian motorsport. Family have got a truck racing, a sprint car racing background. He's gone the circuit path, and he's going to dive down the inside here at turn 8. He'll get by. That's for 3rd place in this race. The Pro-Am combos are coming at the end of this GT4 race. Flack leads it. Now, the timing monitor suggests he's been able to keep it at 3.8. Marcus has done a good job just to manage that scenario. Buchan's got to 2nd place. We're going to have 2 Pro-Ams, 2nd and 3rd outright here at the moment, if both Buchan and Manif can retain those spots with a minute to go.
GT4 racing at its best here at Sydney Motorsport Park, and that was a brilliant move by Manif to get past Miedeke, who's now going to stretch the advantage to secure that 3rd place on the podium. But I wonder if the tyre life on this Lubramax Mustang is suffering a little bit too, because here comes Dalton. And I wonder if that's saving tyre life. And Rusty, you pointed it out very well indeed to Flack. Maybe he was just being told to save it a little bit. Buchan will have used every single ounce of grip out of those tyres possible. As we come now with Just under 30 seconds left on the clock.
Let's remember here too, different weather to yesterday. The impact of that wasn't a dusting, it was a bit more than that, of the rain that we had in Monochrome Australia GT4. Hotter conditions here at Sydney Motorsport Park. Wind not quite as perhaps strong as it was. We had a tailwind yesterday in this race and so on. So Dalton is really on the march here for Buckby Motorsport now. And Mediki's vulnerable. He's lost the spot here. So Dalton moves on by, up into position 4 now. Flack's lead is now 4.5 seconds. Buchan can't make any more in the way of inroads and may have settled for second place. Good management by Marcus Flack. So clock's counted out. This should be the commencement of our final lap here. 1 to go for Marcus Flack and the Method Motorsport team.
Some very solid drives up and down this grid. Ryder Quinn in the back of shot has really brought that gap down to the Sam Brabham car that's suffered some kind of issue. But this duo, Marcus Flack, Tom Heyman, the Method Motorsport number 25 entry, this beautiful looking McLaren, hard to miss in its pink and blue, has been absolutely on it today.
Can't help but wonder what happened to Tim Lay. They've got the fastest lap of the race when Cody Bircher was at the wheel, but they're back in 8th place at the moment. Tremendous performance by the youngsters in this car. Tom Heyman helped set it up at the beginning, was tested with a safety car as well and had to build an advantage again, so we did it twice. Good pit stop work, good handover by Method Motorsport, and then Marcus has delivered. He's managed, hasn't he, in the 25 here. So as we head toward the checkered flag, in terms of classes for you, Flack and Heyman should take silver. Josh Buchan, who's currently second outright with Jason Yu, will claim Pro-Am in this race. And in terms of the AM competitors, Levitt did a great job yesterday. He's done it again on Sunday in the second of these Method Motorsport machines. So he's, where are we at the moment? Anthony's down in 12th spot, and we just need to keep an eye on that BMW. And if the title will get done, looks like JB is currently second in the AM class. Should be sorted. Checkered flag about to wave. Marcus Flack and Tom Heyman take it out on Sunday. Monochrome Australia GT4. Brilliant drive by Josh Buchan to get home in second place and claim Pro-Am. And Manith in the car he shares with Shane Small in third. Bit unfolded as the race wore on. The Quinn entry is under siege here at the moment, but the reason we're focused on that BMW, it's the sister entry, I think, the 33. But it looks like Lawrence is gonna seal that crown this afternoon, and nice chat in the lane there before. We'll wait till they get it done. There's the 32 with John Bow, bottom right of your screen. What a great afternoon it's been for Monochrome GT4 at Sydney Motorsport Park.
Mega GT racing to have 2 Pro-Am cars and a silver class car on the podium tells you everything you need to know about the quality.
I love Griffo. Griffo's at the tail of this group here, Mark Griffith, and he's running 16th outright, but it looked like it was qualifying, didn't it, the way he's attacking here. He just loves it, absolutely loves it. Very proud of the connection to Mercedes too. I think he told me on Thursday he's got one of very few Mercedes trucks on that have been released globally, and he's got one of them. Very cool. Let's go to the results page for you. Monochrome Australia GT4 taken out today. What a weekend it's been for Tom Heyman, Marcus Flack and Method Motorsport. Congratulations to everybody at Zagami Autosports. Buchan and you take out Pro-Am in this race. They finish ahead of Shane Smolin and Lockie Manith. That will be good for them in their title battle.
Woods and Gillison in 11th, having a not as good day today as they did yesterday, fair to say. Levitt did a great job, though, in that Method Motorsport McLaren 2, finishing in 12th. And John Bow alongside Jacob Lawrence, which was a very exciting battle. It had it all, didn't it? Race 2 highlights, Super Cheap Auto Trade. Thanks to them for this Monochrome GT4. And it was a very good start by Rylan Gray in the Lubrimax Mustang, who was able to extend the power of that car. But it wouldn't last forever because Tom Heyman in that blue and pink McLaren was on the charge, ready to get through and build a gap and he was ready to pass too. Up around the outside of the BMW entry, and Antonio Astudi was always in the picture. Oh,
the team car was in the wars though, wasn't it? Penalties being applied. Astudi was eager to get by. He would eventually do that. It was quite a fight with Cody Birch though, who would end up with the fastest lap of the race. As the stops happened and the race wore on, George Miedeke would find himself fighting with Sam Brabham, but it was the march from this McLaren in the hands of Josh Buchan who would ultimately get to second place. Up in front, Marcus Flack in the car that he shares with Tom Heyman established a lead of almost 5 seconds. They managed it very well. In the end, it would be a 2-second victory for them, but the Pro-Am victory in this race went to Josh Buchan. Lockie Dalton got by for 4th outright, getting ahead of Miedeke on the run to the line. But here's the victory for Marcus Flack. Greets the checkered flag. First in Pro-Am to Buchan in the McLaren. And Manif would round out the top 3. Lawrence would claim the crown. All he needed was 1 point over the remaining races and got it done here. We're about to take you to Victory Lane. There's a bit to soak up from that one. Some really positive stuff. Chris Stubbs has got his hand up. I think he's calling for a cameraman. Let's go to him now.
Yeah, you got me. Benny's made his way over. There's plenty happening down here in the lane at the moment. Tommy's just grabbed Marcus. Tom, another outstanding result. 2 from 2. How good is that?
Oh, can't get better than that, obviously. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I can't really believe it, to be honest. But no, the car was mega all day. Marcus did a great job to bring it home, and yeah, can't thank the team enough.
Marcus, how much are you learning from the guy alongside you and what this team is putting together?
Oh, it's great. Having Chaz as a mentor is a big thing, but also having another great driver like Tom, it's actually great because I get to learn things off him, he gets to learn things off us, and together as a team we build.
Teamwork makes the dream work. Congrats on an awesome weekend.
Thank you. That's what it's worth, guys.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
All right, so over this side, we'll spin around. We'll grab Josh Buchan. He's holding the helmet proudly, making sure that the sponsors get some love. I can't see Jason at the moment. Oh, here he is behind us. We'll start with you though, Josh. That drive, wow, just picking them off as you go.
Yeah, well, the first couple of rounds they weren't talking about me much, so I figured that if I can't qualify, or if I'm qualifying on pole, that's not doing it. I may as well drive through the field. But look, really, the props go to my co-driver Jason. He woke up a new man today. Yesterday was not his best performance, and you know, for a first timer to turn it around like he has and put us in a fight, it's really all up to him, to be fair.
So for the Pro-Am victory, Jason, what you're learning from Josh, he does a lot of driver training, and the things that he's taught you overnight, I mean, how good is this guy and how much does this mean to you?
It means the world to me. He's not only a good teammate, great coach, but always so kind, so supportive. I think the biggest achievement here is to have met him through the track days, and this is where we are. It's unbelievable. Yeah.
He does a great job, but don't say too many nice things because he gets a big head. Enjoy the celebrations, guys.
Thanks, mate.
And that moves us along to our AM victor in Anthony Levitt. Anthony, congratulations, our AM victor. That is an awesome result for you, mate.
Oh, it was a good day after yesterday. Can't thank the team enough. They gave me a rocket ship. The thing was straight out of the box. It was on fire. I had Chaz on the radio all weekend. It was like 99% of the time he's just chucking words at me, so it was really good. And hi to my wife at home. Yeah, big day.
What kind of stuff is he saying to you throughout the duration?
Just hold my line and break it easy and take it easy through one, not try and overshoot it or, you know, slow it up on the entry to the corner. It's all about the exit and get the flow. So, but just a world of knowledge in my ear all weekend. Just can't think of enough. It's just been incredible.
Anthony, great job.
Thanks, mate.
So there you go. How great to hear Chaz Mostyn, the role he's playing as one of the best in this country, teaching and sharing his knowledge with others up and down pit lane.
And I reckon a little bit of emotion in the voice there. There's his car, Anthony Levitt. Great job here this weekend at Sydney Motorsport Park. There's a title to celebrate as well. Fantastic weekend in Monochrome Australia GT4. We need a commercial break here. More from the Shannon Speed Series live from Sydney Motorsport Park in just a few moments.